Hello, and welcome to day two, episode two of re-energizing or re-engineering rather your life. And so again, my name is Antonio Cheeks, and I am so happy to be here another night as we're taking this journey on the last quarter of the year. We're in the last quarter of the year, and our task is to take this last part of the year, this last quarter of the year, and make this one of the best parts of the year, to really just turn things around and to have things really be the way we are designing it, or better word, the way we are re-engineering the way we live our life. And this is really cool. This is really important. And what I wanted to do was continue our discussion. Last week, we started introducing this re-engineering concept, and the engine behind re-engineering our lives was based around this concept called self-leadership. And self-leadership is the ability for us to govern ourselves more effectively. And so there's this statement that, leaders, before you can lead others, you really need to learn how to lead yourself. And so that's what we're going to really go into a little bit more. We're going to talk about leading ourselves and how do we do that. And we've been going through the book. I mentioned the book last week. The book is called Identity Leadership, and it is by, a very, very interesting guy, Stedman Graham. You may know him as Oprah's boyfriend, but he's far deeper than that. I mean, the guy is an intelligent young man, very, very astute in his lane. And so he uses the word interchangeably. He uses the words identity and self-leadership almost interchangeably. In one sentence, he might say both words. You may also hear the word personal leadership. You've heard words like personal development. And these words, initially were kind of interesting to me because I had never really heard of self-leadership until I got into the church. So that was really interesting to me because I can imagine as I take this on as like a mantle, if you will, of helping people get better at self-leadership, my first thought was what would be the opposition to people in the church? And we'll talk about that a little bit long, as we get into this. So let's go ahead and define a little bit more, go deeper in defining what is self-leadership. So self-leadership at its core is understanding who you are. And it's understanding your abilities and your passion and your goals. They all tie in together with who we are. Again, it is like the engine, it is like the fuel to who we are and where we're going to be. And so self-leadership, that's what it is. It's you really understanding where you are. And then it also to go that self-leaders, they know a certain thing. They know where they're going and they know how they're going to get there. But also there's another side to this. They also know what do they need to get there. And what they need might be other people. And so self-leadership is far from being something that is an individual thing. It's not a selfish thing. It's actually more of an awareness that you need other people to help you get to where you need to be. But it starts from within. And again, I'm still going through the book that we have here. And as I read this book, I'm going to bring some stuff out of it today. But as I read this book and other books by thought leaders around self-leadership, they all have three things in common when it comes to self-leadership as a base. And those three things are self-leadership, self-awareness. They also talk about self-confidence and self-efficacy. And I like that word. It's almost like my word sagacity that we used last week. We have self-efficacy. So let's talk and break these down. So let's take them one at a time. So self-awareness. So I went on and said, let me find some definitions for you guys. And let's talk about, so self-awareness, let me bring this over so I can see this. Self-awareness is a conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, emotions, or motives. How about that? How about motives and desires? It's the process. This process can be painful. I thought that was interesting. Self-awareness, when you become self-aware, what we're doing now is presenting to ourselves what I like to call the truth card. I mean, this is the real you. No cut, no chaser. It's just straight. This is who you are. And sometimes when we look at ourselves at the man or the woman in the mirror, it can be painful to see where we really are. But that is the beginning of the truth. And for many of us, we know that when we find out the real truth, it is that truth that will set us free. So that self-awareness is really key. And that was just one definition. There's many definitions about self-awareness. That was one that I just came across to share with you tonight. The other thing that they have in there is self-confidence. Now, self-confidence is a feeling of trust in your abilities. It's your qualities and or confidence in your judgment. Now, nowhere in there did it say that self-confidence was arrogance. It's just that you know your abilities. You know your the qualities that you bring to the table. You actually are you make good sense in judgment. And that's when we also go back to that word sagacity again. We had a gentleman, a friend of mine brought up in the chat yesterday. They brought it up, the definition. And initially it starts out by saying being sagacious, but it really talks about being shrewd, being keen, having good discernment as you do your dealings as a leader. And it's funny when we talk about leaders, I call them leaders M&M, like the candy leaders, the M&M candy. But what I'm talking about is leaders that are in the ministry and in the marketplace. So you're probably finding yourself somewhere in one of those. And if you're like me, you're finding yourself in both. So I'm an M&M student. That's a new word. Go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm an M&M student, or I'm an M&M practitioner. I lead in ministry and in the marketplace. So if you want to do that, go ahead. We'll check the chats in a little bit when we get to our commercial break. We'll take a commercial break in a little bit. So the last word out of the three is called self-efficacy. Now, it's all it will almost sound like we're talking about self-confidence, but it's a little bit different. Self-efficacy, when we talk about that, I'll turn here. It says can be defined as the belief that you can be successful when carrying out a task. When carrying out a task, you feel, even if you're not sure, you know that if you put your mind to it, you can actually complete the task. If you have to do more research, you are what's the word I'm looking for? You are you just have a certain sense about you, intuition about you that what, I can figure this thing out. If given the right opportunity and the right resources, I can have self-efficacy. I can actually figure this out. I can believe in my abilities to get it done. So in everything that I've read or researched and start thinking about self-leadership, they tend to have those basic three. And when they have those basic three, then from there, they tend to deviate into other areas based on their theology. And we're going to talk about theology in a little bit later. But here was the thing. Last week, we talked about self-leadership in the Bible. And it came up, we were talking about the prodigal son and how the prodigal son in the scripture said that the prodigal son actually, when he came to himself, self-leadership, when he became self-aware, he knew that, hey, you know what, this hanging out with the pigs is not going to do it. And so he decided at that point that he would make a turnaround because he came to himself. So today, likewise, in this second episode, I actually want to introduce another scripture to you that comes up just really about self-leadership. And that's when we talk about David in 1 Samuel. If you want to turn to 1 Samuel. And for those who are listening, like, oh my God, is this a gospel thing? Is this is the Bible study? Hey, like I said, I'm an M&M person. I'm in ministry and in the marketplace. And we lead in both areas. And you can do it the same thing. So don't run away if you hear a couple of scriptures every now and then, because I'm unapologetic about it. So anyway, let's keep on moving. So David, there's a story about David in the Bible in 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. And he talks about, or he has this scene, you got to set the scene. Him and his men, they come back from battle. They've had, victory. But when they come back to their home where their family, their sons and their daughters and their wives are, they find out that the village in their city or the town that they're staying in has been attacked, and it's been attacked and has also been burnt down. And then they look around and they cannot find their family members. They cannot find their sons. They cannot find their daughters, and their wives are gone. And David had 2 wives. Well, that's another story in itself. But the Bible goes on to say, now David was greatly distressed. Now, why was he distressed? It goes on to say, for the people spoke of stoning him. David was the leader. And when they came back and saw what they saw, they felt that it was David's fault. And so they decided, hey, let's stone David. So they started to stone David because the souls of the people were grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. And then it goes on to say, but David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. So David had the self-awareness to know that in order for him to move forward, he had to strengthen himself in the Lord. I want to take a break out here. Let's go ahead and look over into the comments and see if we have any comments so far. Again, thank you all for coming out. And I see we have a couple of comments. Let's go ahead and open up the comment tab and see what we have in there. Okay. Hey, Mark. Oh my God. Good to see you, man, on the show. Good. Thanks for coming out. That's great. Yes, self-aware is key to knowing where you are. And then there's some other things. We'll talk about that too. All right. Hey, Mark, thanks for that. Any more comments? The self-awareness begins with discovery, like finding your voice or your purpose. Yes, we're going to talk about that. So, Mark, if you're catching up, we started out last week with we're going through this book. And this book is called Identity Leadership by this gentleman I met in Tampa. Actually, I showed a photo of him and I together last episode, and we're going through this book. Not everything, but I just wanted to highlight because he has some real good nuggets in here. If you look in the show description notes, you might have to hit the more button. You'll see the link to the book is right there. So if I was you, I would go and get a copy of it. And he has step-by-step of the self-discovery part is very key. And I call it the truth card. When you know the truth will set you free. And you're right. It is about finding your passion, finding those things that you're totally have an inclination towards that pull at you as well. And we talked about that, and we'll talk about that some more. Any more comments? Sharon, that I love it. Oh, you an Eminem person too? Man, that thing hit me. I was and Sharon, I'll be transparent with you. That hit me earlier this morning. I was just thinking about it because I've always been going back and forth with leaders and how we have to walk this tightrope between ministry and the marketplace. And some people that are in the marketplace, they're striving to be in ministry, but God wants us to be where we are. And so, but some of us are walking that line between that Eminem, that ministry and that marketplace. And in order for us to be very effective in both lanes, it begins with our self-leadership. And so that's very key, man. That's a good point. That's good. So let me go. We're going to come back to some comments in a minute. I want to go ahead and see what else I have here for you guys. We're almost at the halfway point, and I haven't gotten to the commercial yet. So I wanted to look down here there was something I had in the book that I wanted to highlight with you guys. And if you have your book, that would be great. But if you don't, oh my God, just a whole bunch of stuff. So bear with me. I want to pull something up. Here's one about optimism. It says, thinking that you can do it is the first and most critical step to doing it. So remember, I don't know if you guys remember the statement, and I don't know who it was, and forgive me, but it was like, if you think that you can and you think that you can't, or maybe it was more correctly, if you believe that you can and you believe that you can't, you're both right. So no matter what you believe, if you believe that, that's what you own. And some of us fight for our limitations. We're fighting for our limitations. And the goal is not to fight for your limitations, but let the bags go. If you're trying to go up in a hot air balloon and you're pumping all that steam into the air and it's going up, but it would go up a lot smoother if you let some of those bags off. And some of us are carrying too many bags into our future. and we need to let some of those bags go so you and I can get to the next level. So in the book, he talks about 9 steps to creating this ideal kind of like roadmap. And we're going to talk about the one idea as your takeaway tonight. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I want to go ahead and go back to where am I at? So I think we're right now ready for a commercial break as I look through some of the stuff I wanted to tell you. And here's one. I like, Mark, what you were saying. It says self-aware. This is by Peter Guber. And it says self-awareness is the most important skill for career success. Say it again. Self-awareness is the most important skill for career success. And that career success could be in the work, it could be in the marketplace, it could be in ministry, it could be in entrepreneurship, micro entrepreneurship. Maybe you have your main income, but you have a micro industry that you're building upon. Self-awareness is going to be the key to get you there and sustain you. It's one thing to get there, but sustaining it is based on your self-leadership. All right, so it's halfway point. It's time for a commercial break, and then we're going to go to the commercial break, and then we're going to go back to the chat to see if anything else has been put in the chat, and we'll answer some of those questions so far or comments. So here's a commercial break. It's just me. So I've been streaming and trying out several different platforms. And so I've done 3 different platforms so far, thus far. And what I'm going to do for you guys is do a review of the 3 different platforms. One platform is a web-based platform, and the other 2 platforms are system-based, meaning they actually sit on your computer. And I'm like, man, if you're like me and you want to step your game up or level your game up as a communicator online, and you want to make your presentations pop a little bit more than they do right now, or if you're using Zoom and you want to separate yourself from the crowd of people who are using Zoom, and if you have students in front of you that are looking at you online and you're like, man, what can I do to engage them more? Well, I'm doing the research for you, how you can bring that stuff back. I mean, just bring it to life. Like when we were in person and doing everything in person, we had certain chemistry, we had certain excitement, we have certain types of engagement that we could do with individuals. And so I've been researching and studying these different platforms. And so what I'm gonna do is a review. In a few weeks, I'm gonna do a review of the 3 platforms that I've used thus far, and give you an idea of what they look like for yourself, and give you behind the scenes of my setup, which changes every now and then. But for the most part, it's the same setup. And I have it set up so I can give the maximal impact, not for me, but for the people that are listening. And I know if you're like that, if you're a teacher, if you're in ministry or the marketplace and you have to get in front of these computers and talk and bring your energy through the computer screen, and then bring in things that will make the students, help the students get more engaged. Maybe you have a ministry and maybe you're ministering to people. You want to be able to bring the word and make it come to life. I'm going to go through 3 different programs that I've used, and I'm going to tell you which one I'm kind of like leaning towards at the end of that. But it'll be an opportunity for you to make a decision about what's best for you. So that's coming up soon. And after that, if you're like, hey, I need you to hold my hand on how to deliver through those different types of systems, maybe you might pick one yourself. Then I'm gonna give you an opportunity to work with me on how you can do that. So we'll work together on getting you to where you can shine when it comes to being online. That almost rhyme, but it's not quite there, but I'm working on it. Anyway, all right, so that's my little commercial break. So let's get back to it. So Karen, let's go ahead over to the comment areas and chats to see what we have in there. All right. Oh, hey. All right. Look, welcome. Is self-awareness the same as emotional intelligence? Great. In the umbrella, emotional intelligence falls under self-leadership or self-awareness. So yeah, it is part. Like, matter of fact, if I was to keep stretching this out, under self-leadership, we would talk about self-awareness. We would talk about IQ. We were talking about, EQ, which is research is finding out that EQ, as you're saying, emotional intelligence, is far more important when it comes to social engagement or interpersonal skills and things of that nature. We would also talk about, for you fitness people out there, that when it comes to self-awareness or self-leadership, how about your fitness? How about taking care of your personal health? That falls under it as well. I like to also include your spiritual gifts. Or it's funny, I took many of you might know I teach spiritual gifts for my church. I ran across one morning, I was messing around with my computers, looking at stuff I needed to delete off the computer, and I came across my disc assessment, DISC assessment. I don't know if you ever did one of those behavior profile kind of things. And when I found out my disc assessment and my spiritual gifts are similar, it's not like they're far off from each other. They're actually similar. And so I would not neglect, ladies and gentlemen, you knowing how God has wired you, even from a scientific standpoint, because it's all the same. It's all part of the M&M community. And y'all put in the chat, if you're part of the M&M community, we just made that up today. You're part of the M&M community, put I'm in. So M&M, you might come up with science. The science and the scriptures, they work together. They're not separate. It's all God. And when I saw that, that's what I thought about. I said, man, God is so powerful. It's not a separate thing. It's the same thing. So anyway, so to your question, yes, emotional intelligence in there. We're going to talk. We may get a chance to talk about that. How long I'm going to run this series, I don't know. But we may bring that in there, but it's definitely a part of that. When should you learn about self-leadership? Early. So if you have young teenagers, young adults, or preteens, start talking about self-leadership, their self-awareness, their self-efficacy, the self-confidence, their sagacity. That's that word again, sagacity. If you haven't seen it last week, look it up. Sagacity. That you want to start early as possible, because there's nothing more. Oh my God. There's nothing more painful than living a life where you know something is missing and you know that you could be doing more, but you just can't find your rhythm for some reason. You just can't get your rhythm going. And in a lot of cases, it could be your self-leadership quotient, so can you self-lead yourself? And man, if I go into it, I tell you what, let me go into let's come out of commercial break. Yes, my buddy Ralph. Yes, got the word sagacity from this man right here, Ralph Hastings Spain, my man from Sierra Leone. Man, we got people from Sierra Leone on the call. Gave me the word sagacity, and then he said he liked the blue and the green M&Ms. I love it. Man, you almost made me lose my thought there. That's cool. That's funny though. That's cool. Yes, I did use the word sagacity, and I'm owning that word. I told people a year ago you gave it to me. I don't have to say that no more. I told them last year, I said I got this word from Ralph, but now you know how it goes. So let's look at this. I want to piggyback on something, because I also want you guys to start thinking about your worldview. All right. Self-leadership will shape your worldview. So a year ago in my class, in my studies, we started talking about the different worldviews, and with worldviews, you create certain theologies, So, for those of us who are Christians and believers in Christ, we have a certain theology of worldview. We know that, this is a fallen world, and then there's the redemptive nature of Christ. Your worldview gives you a particular lens that you see life through. You see life through a certain lens. So here's the thing. For me, my worldview or theology is that the lack of self-leadership is a major contributor to a lot of the wickedness, illnesses, just the downside of society. When we see people, when they do those when they rushing in the stores and just grabbing things that they can grab and they're running out the store. I mean, for me, the lack of self-leadership is the cause of a lot of our worldly ills, is the lack of self-leadership. On the other hand, my worldly view, the lens that I'm looking through, is that the abundance of self-leadership is the cure for our hopelessness. For young people like, man, I don't know what I want to do. Let's start teaching them how to self-lead themselves. For people who are like, I'm ready to give up, they don't know who they are. And so as we start teaching not only ourselves, because this is, hey, we got to put our oxygen mask on first, and then we can help others. That's the thing about self-leadership. It's not like you're trying to be separate from people. You're trying to be better with people, and you do that through self-leadership. That's really good. Let's go back. So that's my worldview. I want you to start tonight thinking about what's your worldview. How has self-leadership, or as you start going into self-leadership, how do you feel that's going to start shaping your worldview? And I tell you what, here's why I say this. I've been in leadership. I think I came out the womb in leadership. Now, this has not been like, I've been trained in leadership, and I all my life I've been, in school and stuff like that for leadership. No, just I couldn't avoid it for some reason. It's like I can just be standing in the office and you're up, you're next, you're the leader. I'm like, I don't want to be the leader, but you're the leader. So anyway, I say all that to say, I spent years leading other people, and I would admit, I think I was pretty good in a lot of those situations. In a lot of situations, I was very good at leading other people. But when I had an opportunity to reflect, when I got fired, that gave me time to reflect. I had never took time out to self-lead myself. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I was always focused on where I was sending other people. And ladies and gentlemen, don't let that happen to you. Self-care. We were talking earlier about EQ, and I brought up fitness. Well, self-leaders take care of themselves because they realize they're self-aware of the importance that all the things they want to do in life, that they need this particular body to take them there. And so they're taking care of themselves, self-care. So that's another thing. So let's go ahead over to the comments and see what's over in the comments, or questions. If there are comments or questions, let's see what's, or maybe y'all talking to each other. That's good too. I like when you talk to each other. So let's see what we have as far as comments. Anything happening over in there? Oh, Shine Online, man. I think that's pretty good. It's close. It's pretty close. Thanks, Sharon. What else we got over there? Oh, wow. Sagacity now. Foresight, discernment, or keen perception, ability to make good judgment. Thank you. You need to learn that word. You need to embrace that word. And when you say it, don't just say sagacity. You got to go sagacity. You got to actually own it. Ralph, isn't that right, Ralph? You got to own that word sagacity. So if I've never given you anything before, I've given you a free gift. It's the word sagacity. Own it, love it, use it. Be sagacious. That's kind of like the verb. Be sagacious in your dealings, in your self-leadership. What else we have out there? Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, how are you? How are you? Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Good to see you. We may have to do a redo of our reunion that we had, or our fellowship that we had, again, maybe on another night, where we get some more family members together. Thanks for hanging out, Anita. Good to see you, or at least your avatar. So what else is happening out there in the world? So while you're thinking about what's going on, or why my producers out there looking at other comments or maybe questions, I wanted you to start thinking about tonight's assignment, or this week's assignment, coming until till we get together next Thursday, is to check your ID. Now, checking your ID is about you really going into, who am I? What are my passions? What are my gifts? What are my talents? What things that I have a natural inclination towards? What things are pulling me? And here's something, here's something that I'm gonna put a twist to this. What things make you angry? That's a little twist to this. What things make you angry? There's nothing wrong with getting angry. Just don't sin. But being angry is okay, or having a burden about something, being passionate about something. I personally believe those who are better at self leadership will be able to do things like entrepreneurship or micro enterprises. And when they're able to do that, they're able to contribute more. They're able to contribute more to their ministry and the marketplace. We were at it was man, I forget what day of the week it was. It might have been a Saturday, but we donated some things to an organization that was in Rockville. And man, when we walked away, I don't know, for me personally, I felt like, man, that was a really good feeling. And then when we got in the car, we started thinking about philanthropic things. Did I say that right? Philanthropic things. And how if we want to be in a position to do that even more, people who are really good at self-leading themselves position themselves to do that type of work more and not only more, but on a consistent basis. That's the thing. So that's the thing that makes me kind of angry is when I don't have the ability to do those things to help grow the kingdom the way I want to see it grow, to help give to charitable organizations. I want to be able to do that in a better way, in a deeper way. That's just my thought on that. So we're going to go one more time. We come to the bottom of the half of the hour, and I don't try to keep you guys long. Just want to go through these things again. If you have not got the book, if you're here, you're already here. Go ahead and get it. The link is in the bottom of the description. If you don't see it immediately, hit the show more button and you'll see the link. Just go ahead and click it and get it. You need to get it. Again, I'm not going to go through all of his stuff because it's his IP, his intellectual property, but it's just some stuff on it I think is pretty good. And as a self-leader, you're responsible for your learning. I'm just here to help give you a tip. So that's all I got for you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the comment thing, if I can see comments. All right, I think we're good. All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out again. Next week, we're going to go a little bit deeper into self-leadership. The first part tonight is your ID. Start asking yourself questions. Questions like, I'm happiest when? I'm happiest when? That's a question. When are you happiest? Write it down, because these might be indicators of who you are. What character traits that might be holding you back from achieving your life goals? What character traits? Is it, I got some stuff written down here about me. I don't need to be sharing you my stuff, but what if is it procrastination? What about doubt or maybe even guilt? Maybe it's something in your past you're still holding on to. You need to let it go. But then also, what are some of your biggest challenges in life right now? What are some of your biggest challenges? Start writing those things down. And these are your, this is your ID check. This is your ID check. Well, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out for about 30 something minutes. We're a little bit over 30 minutes. I try to keep it kind of short. But today, know that you're a part of the M&M. Oh, with the peanuts. You like the peanuts. You're part of the M&M crew. You're in the marketplace and you're in ministry. And guess what? They both are needed. They both are needed. We need you in the marketplace. We need you in the ministry. Know and grow your lane. Just honor God with your lane. I'll just show it. So I'm going to close the book. Again, I'm going to show it up one more time. That's the book right there. Go ahead and get it. It's in the link. And I hope I was able to serve you tonight. And thank you. I appreciate that. So this is yeah. Oh man, I see the thing with I'm looking at a comment. Okay, I'm looking at the comment. Yeah. That's what we're talking about, purpose. And there's more questions, and we'll talk about some more questions. But as you're going through your week, Remember, for some of you might remember the 4 P's. It was passion, prayer. It was prayer, passion, praise, and maybe somebody might remember the last P. Productive. I mean, are you productive in a certain area? So prayer, praise, passion, productivity. If you have those things in a particular area, that might be something you want to lean into. You might want to lean into that because that might be telling you something about yourself. Oh, thanks, Ralph. I appreciate you. But you're a great coach. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. Great coach as well. Sharon, this is nice, but we got to do face-to-face time. Sharon, I'd be good to do just a YouTube time or a Zoom time with you. I mean, that's how we got to get together. I got to see you. So let's do that. And yeah, thank you, Ralph. We'll talk soon. Matter of fact, I'll see you soon. As a matter of fact, Ralph does the tea. We do tea together. So I like coffee, but we also do tea as well. Thank you so much, guys. So we're out. Thanks again for coming out, and I will see you next Thursday, 8 o'clock. However, if you need to reach out to me before then, also in the comments, if you're interested in learning more about how to present and bring your presentation online, because virtual presentation is not going anywhere. So if you want to really get my review on the software and the hardware that I'm using, go ahead and shoot a comment out. You can put that in the chat or you can put it in the comments on YouTube, and I will definitely help you out with that. All right. Until next time, I will see you guys. Be blessed. Stay safe. And understand your self-leadership is the key to your potential. I'll see you next time. Take care.